All right, we are ready to start, and it is 5 o'clock. So all that bantering got us to the 5 o'clock. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for attending our first meeting in January. Council, just before we get into it and we go to the agenda, I will be absent at the next town council meeting. I have the privilege of going to DC a couple of times this next quarter for WHAM and National League of Cities, which is why I say my calendar is nuts. Councilman Swafford will be chairing the council meeting at that time. And I would propose that we go for our third read of business licenses like in the first meeting of February. Obviously, we're all here for that. So I just put some definition around that. All right, first item on the agenda is acceptance of the agenda. There's no items that we wish to add.
I move that we accept the agenda as published.
I second that.
All right, moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilman Loftus to approve the agenda as published. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item are the minutes from December 8th town council meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes of the December 8, 2025 regular town council meeting.
I'll second that.
All right, moved by Councilwoman Boyce, second by Councilman Kasiba to approve the minutes of December 8th regular town council meeting 2025. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the December 15th special town council meeting that we had.
I move that we approve the minutes of the December 15, 2025 special town council meeting.
Second that.
All right, moved by Councilwoman Boyce and seconded by Councilman Kasiba again to approve the minutes of the December 15th special town council meeting in 2025. All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion also carries 5-0. All right, next item is citizen or council concerns. Any citizen concerns? Yes.
Are you getting these offices built so you can pay for the building?
We are, well, the building is paid for.
What is?
Yeah, we paid cash for it. Way back in the day.
Oh,
Yeah, it's paid for. There's no loan on this. But we did actually have a couple of discussions that were taking place. Just we've let everybody know about the buildings. And so I think Amy just sent out an email to somebody who was interested in Roxbury or Sweetwater County just today. So we are shopping it out. So, yeah. But yeah, we'd like to get it filled. I know the chamber is now using 2 offices, but yeah, so little by little. Any other questions? Facts? Nothing?
Quit your column?
No, I did not. I sent my column on Tuesday afternoon and she didn't get it into the paper. So what I sent last Tuesday, she's gonna put it in this week's, even though it'll be late because the one I'm doing, and the radio is doing it. So if you want to know what I said last week, well, you can read it this week. But this week, I was going to write about our wonderful news that we have, but I didn't want to spoil it before the town council tonight. So I controlled myself. So, but no, I'm still writing it. Any other questions? All right. Next, any council concerns?
Good job on the snow plowing.
Best year ever.
Yep.
I've told people that I'm now going to start praying that we use our snow budget.
Right now, we're just trying to keep guys moving or else we're just gonna have a really clean shop. But so far we haven't ran out of tasks.
Yep,
You know-
taking care of the ice dams.
Last week, Kevin and Spencer and I were like really brainstorming of like, okay.
Build us an even
Focus.
dais.
You hear those valleys, the valley pans thing?
If you guys got people sitting around, I got ideas.
Well, we're not sitting around yet. We're getting a couple of weeks.
Let me know.
Little snow would go a long way.
Let's hope.
Highly
a
say
little bit.
All right, next item on the agenda, I'm going to declare a public hearing for the Parr Avenue preliminary plat application on the second edition of the First Amendment. Abe, I'll let you pick this up. I see Mr. Goodrich is here.
So, Mr. Mayor, Town Council, before you today is a public hearing for a small subdivision of Parr Avenue, second edition. It's called Parr Avenue
second edition First Amendment, which abandons lot 4 and creates lots 10 and 11. Mr. Goodrich came in this summer and constructed a duplex on lot 4 with the full intention that he would subdivide it upon completion of construction and make 2 lots. As far as I'm concerned, it's a very straightforward subdivision. There's really no variances or waiver requests that have been sought on it. It did go to planning and zoning. It was recommended unanimously in the planning and zoning for approval by the town council. Since that meeting, we've had one small hiccup where we're trying to determine the actual code applicability of the firewall between the 2 units. So I would still recommend approval of the preliminary plat. I would just ask for a condition that prior to final plat, that the firewall separation is deemed appropriate through proper zone compliance in relation to the state fire marshal's office. So that's what I have for you.
Okay. Mr. Goodrich, you want to say anything?
Nope, I'm good. But we do have an issue with firewall we're trying to work out, but other than that, it's pretty.
Yeah, I think you just have to build it up or something to the adequate worst case or something like that, right?
We built it to IRC code and we're trying to make sure that is now.
Right. Fire marshal and everything.
We've had some back and forth with fire marshal today. I think the best way is for, I'm not a code expert. I don't claim to be a building code expert. And so instead of playing middle ground between Mr. Goodrich, the state fire marshal's office, we're trying to coordinate a meeting to sit down, have his contractor present to say, this is why we did it. This is what's been accepted other places. This is how we reading and et cetera, and hopefully we can figure it out together.
Sounds good. Any questions from council? So I'm in favor of approving the preliminary plat. As we said, we'll make sure that that is aligned with the fire marshal and any other authority. If council is agreeable, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the Parr Avenue Second Edition First Amendment preliminary plat application.
I'll second.
Oh,
With the condition of the,
it's on the D1. It's on the page there.
do you want me to read that whole condition?
Yeah, why not? If you don't, I will.
Oh, all right, I'm getting to it.
Page 16. Yep. Woo. There it is.
With the condition prior to the final plat application that we obtain verification from the state fire marshal's office confirming that the firewall separation between the units complies with all applicable local, state, and building codes and make any necessary modifications to achieve compliance.
Thank you.
Still second.
All right, moved by Councilman Loftus, second by Councilman Swafford to approve the preliminary plat application of Parr Avenue Second Edition First Amendment to the town of Pinedale, vacation of Lot 4, Parr Avenue Second Edition Block 1, and the creation of Lot 10 and Lot 11, Parr Avenue Second Edition Block 1 with conditions prior to final plat that we had obtained verification with the state fire marshal's office that the firewall separation between the units complied and any necessary modifications would be made to achieve compliance. That. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Goodrich. Appreciate it.
Everything.
I've heard people say it looks good, so it's a nice looking building.
Yeah, thank you.
Build another 40 of those, we all set.
3, 4 less. We're starting for.
That's what I like to hear. All right, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. We have 12 items on there. If you have questions about any of them, we have the fire protection services with Suffolk County, our HVAC refit for the airport, the Hangar 7 window retrofit project award, airport house prep and stain award, airport cloud cutting edges procurement, SCADA polling software procurement, Fremont Lake annual water testing, SCADA support, Rio Verde engineering as needed engineering at 210, Nelson Engineering, contract renewal at town engineer, final seal coat for the airport, the final payment for the seal coat at the airport, and finally Brentag soda ash procurement.
And to be clear, Mr. Mayor, it's in the agenda, but it's not fully clear in the consent agenda. We are not awarding the window retrofit project, correct?
That is correct. It was a little bit more expensive than it should have been. Okay, a little more than a
A
little.
lot of more.
And we didn't follow the statutory processes for that increased cost.
So we are thinking of reissuing that, and then we'll see what happens after that. So, because there might have been a couple of people who wanted a bit, so.
I will move that we approve the consent agenda as published.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Kosiba, seconded by Councilwoman Boyce to approve the consent agenda as published. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries 5-0. All right, next item on the agenda is, first off, is the letter of intent from the Rocky Mountain Stoll. Intend to do Stoll again. Riley, you want to say anything about that since you're the only airport director?
Yes, so, Pennsylvania Station obviously wrote us a letter of their plan of intent to do, house another Rocky Mountain Stoll event here in 2026. Currently the dates are planned from August 14th to August 16th, so the same window of time that we have in the past. I spoke in the airport board meeting very highly of this event. I think it's a great thing for the airport and a great thing for the community. The airport board gave a unanimous approval to recommend that we accept this letter of intent and move forward with the 2026 goal. But that lies in your hands.
In the discussion last year, we were trying to time Stoll during a concert. Do we know if we've got that going on?
I don't think we've got PFAX.
Just got their dates, but they're still kind of moving them around.
It's pretty early for them, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen one at Travel Tourism yet, but that may be this month.
I know there was this discussion if we could, I mean, we're kind of stuck on the Stoll because it's a national series, but I would encourage whoever, and I know that we have some connection with PTTC there, so if we could just make sure that all kind of lines up, that would be good.
I'll bring that up. 10 usually shows up whenever they submit it, so. We'll suggest.
All right. So received. We don't have to take an action.
Okay, I was gonna say, I didn't think.
We have read it. Next item is the Pronghorn subdivision bond renewal request. This is F2. Abe, I'll let you take it away.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I'm trying to get to where I need to be in the agenda packet. If you have a page number, that'd be helpful.
109. You.
Mr. Mayor and Council, so the applicant is here to represent this extension request. Dating back a couple of years, it was 2 years ago that the final plat was approved on February. Sorry, this current bond expires in February. It's been 2 years since the approval of the final plat subdivision. At the time of that approval, the applicant, Moyes Family Homes, decided to bond the completion of the subdivision so that they could get to final plat and sell parcels and lots, et cetera, and proceed with building. That bond was for $1.967 million to the town of Pinedale. That bond expires at around February 20th of this year. I have the exact date somewhere in this packet. They are requesting an extension to this bond. Now, we've had Moyes Family Homes, the first year of construction, they ultimately got quite a bit accomplished. The water, the sewer, and a portion of the streets. This last construction season, not a lot got completed on the subdivision. They are here to represent why that is the case and to put their presentation before you on why they're requesting an extension. I can say the only other option the town has, if we do not grant this extension, is the town calls the bond, which would entail us contacting their insurance company, pulling the bond, and then we would have to go through the appropriate channels to bid retrieve where we are at in construction drawings, bid the project to contractors, and then go finish the construction. I don't think it's in the best long-term or short-term or long-term interest of the project to go that route, because I don't think I could construct doing that until 2027 to get through the whole process and get it done. However, I don't know if I recommend a full 1-year extension, as that would put me in the same pickle next year if something were not to happen this year. So it'd be my recommendation if there's some heavy consideration towards this bond extension, but I would recommend no more than 6 months, which would give us a little bit more appropriate schedule in the event that we needed to call a bond, that we could still construct in 2027 and still gives the applicant plenty of time to complete their project and it not be an issue. I think it's still in the best interest of the project for them to finish it. And they've done a good job of the work they've had. They just hit some delays this summer. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it back to you and the applicant.
Council, any questions prior before going to Mr. Moyes or Mr. Bornstrom? No? Mr. Moyes, Mr. Bornstrom, would you like to speak to this in any way? Evening.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, to Mr. Pierce's point, we were scheduled to finish we did the water, sewer, everything for the full subdivision the prior summer, most of it all. This summer was finishing up some of the detailed stuff of getting some of the brought up to grade, the finishing some of those things, and then we were scheduled to finish the curb and gutter and paving at the end of the summer. We ran into an issue with our initial couple of curb and gutter options. So we've ordered our own machine. We ordered it back in end of July, beginning of August to do all of our own curb and gutter here. As Abe pointed out in the email, it's curb and gutter is about twice what it should be. In a lot of places in towns experience that as well. So with the machine that we ordered had some parts delays. It was supposed to get here the first week of October. We had worked with teletractors to make sure that we'd have the plant open to pave it after the curb and gutter got done. And this machine is a fast machine. It's probably about 3 days total to do the curb and gutter with the rate that it can pour curb and gutter, as opposed to hand forming, which is measured in calendars and glaciers instead of days. So I guess calendars are days too. Anyways, the point being, we had that the parts that had to be ordered for that, which is a control module and the different molds, got back ordered till December, which puts us outside of the window of being able to curb and pave during that time. So the machine is set to arrive in March. We've told them we have an April 1st deadline now. And so everything is set for the machine to arrive here in April. And so thankfully we'll be waiting on weather with the machine to, as soon as we can pour concrete that's not going to be compromised because of weather, and then we can pave once the plant opens back up. It should be a very short process we're anticipating on the long side, probably about 2 to 3 weeks to do everything from curb and gutter to final paving too. So I think we submitted bids from the contractors that are working with us on that too to the town as well. So there might be some adjustments on that based on material changes from summer to spring, but that's the reason we're there. We did go through and put the road base down on the roads that are not paved and got those compacted. So those are drivable, usable by emergency vehicles or whatever else needs to be there. So from a health and safety perspective, the homes and structures on those streets are still safe.
Okay. Any questions from council?
So Mr. Moyes, just based on the delays which are understandable, if we were to grant a 6 month extension, that would give you enough time to get the machine in, do the curb and gutter, get everything taken care of, barring unanticipated delays, obviously.
Thank you. I was going to say, being here for 6 years, I haven't experienced every weather issue that's ever occurred, but barring something that we're all stuck in 6 foot drifts in the middle of July.
July.
The 6 month extension would get us into the completion date of August, which we're all in trouble if we can't pave in August. So, yeah,
Okay.
to answer your question.
Thank you.
to be fair, staff and I have already met with Mr. Moyes and Mr. Formstrom on this issue, so we've talked through it, so, I'm comfortable with it. Does council have any other questions?
Before you make a motion, the Jason Moyes, Jason Moyes, it's all synonymous in my brain. Moyes Family Homes has also submitted a new construction estimate for remaining work. And that construction estimate went to the town engineer back and forth a couple of times, and he has accepted it. Presented at $630,460. So at that price, it would allow a partial bond release to the remaining bond amount of $788,075 to cover the remaining project. By doing so, I know that would save Moyes Family Homes a fair bit of money in a bond renewal compared to bonding stuff that's already completed to town and has been signed off on the construction side of things, water, sewer, et cetera. So at this, I would say that the request should include a bond reduction to $788,075. It's all, for my review, that conforms with the code.
So that's your construction cost one plus the 25%. Okay.
Yeah, his construction cost plus 25% mark.
Because it always costs us more to do something.
Yeah, and the town engineer did ask for some changes because their curb and gutter, we don't pay for the prices. And so there was 4 items the town engineer asked them to modify their cost estimate. I think the cost estimate went from, I don't know, 4 and some change to 6 and some change because we asked for those increases because of prices we've seen in bid. So I am confident that this construction price would cover our ability if we needed to call them off.
Okay. Is everybody good with that? All right, can I have a motion to approve the bond extension request and reduction from 1.9 million roughly to $780,075? Couldn't just say 790. All right, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the extension or the bond extension request for the completion of construction of the amended Pronghorn Crossing subdivision of Block 6 of the Bloomfield addition to the town of Pinedale with the term of 6 months, terminating no later than August 20th, 2026, and amending the extension amount of the bond, partial reduction bond due to completed work from $1,967,585 to $788,075.
I'll second that.
All right, moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilman Loftus.
Instead of substantial.
Yes, right. To approve the bond extension request for the completion of construction for the amended Pronghorn Crossing subdivision of Block 6 and reducing the bond from $1,967,585 to $788,075 with substantial completion to be completed by July 1st, 2026, and that the 6 months termination would be no later than August 20th. I think I got all the details, and if not, somebody can listen to you. Any other comments? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The next item then is a waiver request by the Pronghorn subdivision. Some of the homes have been sold, and they're asking for a waiver to allow these folks to come in there. Furnishing of water and sewer facilities. Generally, we don't do that until everything is completed. The subdivision has kind of gone back and forth on how things have gotten done. Abe, do you want to go ahead and explain this better, and then I'll jump through my piece.
Yep, Mr. Mayor and Council, according to Town Code 400-12, it's titled required for public improvements. It says the town shall withhold all public improvements of whatever nature, including the maintenance of streets and the furnishing of sewer facilities and water service for all subdivisions which have not been approved, and from all areas dedicated to the public which have not been accepted by the town council in a manner described in this chapter. The town staff has always taken that as, in order to build or to occupy a home there, you got to have water, sewer, streets, power, gas to each home prior to occupying. we've stood on that ground pretty firmly throughout the project here. And they've been able to deliver that for all of the homes they sold and occupied to date. The issue has become that I think there's 5 homes, might be 4. I have
4.
that are constructed where water, sewer, gas, power have been delivered to the lots, and they have a road-based road right now. The pavement has not made it up Wrangler Way to each of their driveways, et cetera. The way the town code is written, we can't issue a building permit on a parcel that doesn't exist, but that's the whole benefit for them of bonding the subdivision, that once they bond it, they can build homes because the parcels exist. But we're kind of running into a sequencing issue where we have citizens of the town of Pinedale that are buying homes that don't have all of the services that are produced by the subdivision. That is protected with the bond. However, it just puts staff in a precarious position. We've always indicated these things need to be in place. So to me, it requires a waiver of 2 sections later on code. It does preserve, it says at the request, this is 400-15, at the request of the applicant, the mayor may waive a requirement in this chapter upon recommendation of the town engineer. The town council shall be informed on the request in the mayor's decision. If the applicant does not agree with the decision of the mayor, the applicant may present the waiver request to the town council for consideration. The request is being made to allow the occupancy of these 4 homes. I don't know if the mayor has elected to not grant it, but he has elected for it to come to this board for a decision. So with that, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, so I think to be clear, I don't think it requires necessarily a vote from the council.
No.
Yeah, so this would be essentially me making my decision here. But I did want the council to be informed of it because Mr. Moyes and Mr. Formstrom, I mean, there's just kind of a general pattern that's done in construction and development, which I expect that you would know. And so we're not really happy with this, although we're very happy with the homes. So I'm torn because it's like, yay, we've got homes, people are moving into homes, this is fantastic, but it is not aligning and it is causing a jumble for our staff that has to sit there and find workarounds for this. And the number of hours that Abe and Chelsea and Ed have had to wrestle with this just because, and it's just not normal. So I will say that I am going to go ahead and approve this. And if the council wants to go ahead and make a motion and unapprove it, you can. But I will go ahead and agree to this waiver. But I'm also going to say that we're probably not going to award any more building permits until the subdivision is completed. So if you would please then turn, which I think is your plan, which is the whole bond, if you could, before you start selling other units or market them as much as you want, but before we start issuing other building permits, we would like to see the subdivision completed. And I believe, speaking with that we are within right to say that. So I'm going to ask you to put the train back around and get certain things done prior to getting these houses completed. But I think if we can walk into the summer season with that understood, then we should be fine. I mean, that's our opinion, right? So I think Tessa's. Oh, hi, Tessa. You're
Hi
on mute.
there. Hi, can you hear me now?
We're good.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
I understand that the completion of the road is one of the main issues at hand here. Do you expect the town of Pinedale then to plow the roads that have not been paved as part of this waiver?
That's a great question, Tessa, and I think the answer is going to be no, but.
The town has not taken over any
Yeah.
maintenance of the infrastructure within the subdivision at this point in time.
Yeah. That's on them, and for multiple reasons, least of which is I'd hate to mess up a road base and then turn around, we have major problems, and then they're looking at us because we've messed up.
We start breaking curve, we'd like to own it first.
Does that answer your question, Tessa?
Yes, it does.
And do you have another question?
No, but I would submit a general comment, just as a neighbor and a resident of the town of Pinedale. I don't think that this waiver is really in the best long-term interest of the homeowners in that subdivision. And I think the requirement to complete the roads in the subdivision is very straightforward. And it's something that I wouldn't expect to be waived very often. So just a little public comment.
100% agree with you, Tessa, and that's kind of, I don't know if you caught what I was saying, is that we really are not inclined to issue any more building permits. And so this does put us in a quandary. So I'm 100% agree with you. And I guess if they don't get it done, then we will be picking up this bond and we will be paving it come next year. So, but it sounds like you're gonna get it done, so don't have to worry about it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
I'm glad we're on the same side of that one, so. All right, so I don't think there's any action unless council wants to go ahead and countermount my approval of this, but I will waive this requirement for proper 1649 Wrangler Way, 1667 Wrangler Way, 1673 Wrangler Way, and 1679 Wrangler Way, that we will approve a waiver to statute 400-12, allowing the furnishing of water and sewer facilities to homes. So, and then from that on, I look forward to seeing more stuff completed. Right. Council, do you wish to make a motion to undo my waiver?
Just a hypothetical, if we were to deny this waiver request, what would that look like?
You would then have 4 owners of homes who would.
I don't know the exact ramifications. I know that one home's closed in right before Christmas time, December 20th-ish, and is under new ownership. So that person will not be able to occupy their home, or they would certainly do so without water. That's the only piece the town has the ability to control. We just don't turn on the water. And that seems like a new town citizen that would be void of services. I imagine the other 3 are closing in the coming months. I don't know exactly, January, February, March, sometime in that frame. It's my understanding they're all sold. Those 4 are all sold. So we'd have 4 town citizens that we would, I don't feel like staff could relinquish water service until we had a waiver from this portion.
Well, yeah, I certainly don't think it's appropriate for us to be in effect punishing the residents for something that they had no control over, nothing to do with. So I support your waiver, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Yeah, and I think we obviously want people to move into these homes. This is the whole idea. And as I joked with Mr. Goodrich, I'll take another 20, please. We have a big demand for housing, so the sooner we can get it built and people move in, the better. Mr. Moyes, Mr. Brunstrom, do you want to make any comments to this, or?
I will say, I appreciate the waiver, and I do want to also reiterate, this was, and we talked about this in our call a while back. We could have communicated a lot better. We were under a different interpretation of the code, the way it was written, and what services provided meant. And so with the clarification and the understanding of what staff and council's interpretation of the precedent has been, we're all on the same page now, and we weren't in those again. So I appreciate the consideration.
No, thank you very much. And again, thanks for your hard work and wishing you the best.
I really want to see this subdivision tied up. I think it's a great.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. I mean, we've worked really hard to get homes into this subdivision, so this is an answer to a lot big, right, Dennis? This has been a long time coming. So.
I know sometimes it sounds coarse in public action. We got to do these things. I feel like staff we're limited without coming to you guys, but I will reiterate that the Moyes family team has been cooperative and open, and we've sat down and had meetings. And so I don't think anything discussed tonight is something they were unexpected or of that nature. They have been good to work with. We just need to get these things closed out. So.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the next item, 221 East Pine Street Commercial Building Permit. Oops, I was already there. Abe, again.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is a commercial building permit over 500,000, requiring your approval prior to issuing the building permit. This is for the First Bank of Wyoming, located over on East Pine Street, over by Ridley's property. It is kind of in chaos corner where there's a lot going on. What they are seeking to do is remodel the interior of the building, but the addition of a drive-through banking corridor that goes from south to north on the lot on the east side of the parcel. You can see the plan set located within here. At first, town staff, we put them directly in contact with YDOT, say we don't govern accesses on Pine Street. YDOT does, and YDOT was not willing to give them an access for the change of use through further discussions between us, the applicant, and YDOT, everybody's agreed that it's in the best interest to eliminate the access that is located closest to Bridger Avenue. So this would keep one access to the bank, the west access, and some modifications to their parking lot, allowing both parking in the front of the building as well as drive-through on the east going from south to north. They do contain the proper easement to the private property to the north, to egress the site from the north. We've reviewed it for everything with stormwater and state fire marshal office review, et cetera. We've been back and forth with the applicant several different times. I'm uncertain if they're on the line. I don't know all names that are online here, but I did speak with them before tonight. It is my opinion, there's a few items that they need to resolve within the staff report, but they're right there. The one conditions of approval is the completion of the action items in this town staff report dated January 7th, 2026. I believe that this is an application I can recommend for approval.
Okay, is there a representative of the applicant?
They did indicate they had a conflict and they were trying to. So.
I think everything's in there. The only other thing that would come into is the driveway. That curb and gutter have to be put in, that sidewalk has to be ADA compliant on Pine Street there. I'd hope there'd be a representative here.
Yeah.
Because in general, it'd be their responsibility to do both the ADA sidewalk and place that curb and gutter. We do have the YDOT project that's coming through 191 in about a year or two from there, but that curb and gutter, if they don't do it, we will have to do it and pay for it. So I'm inclined to let them pay for both the ADA sidewalk and the curb and gutter.
Mr. Mayor,
That's their responsibility.
it is a conversation that came up in the meeting of like, if they eliminate that access, are they responsible for that? I said, ultimately, yes. I did tell them that the town has paid for, and probably will be paying for removal of several other accesses in that project, that there was potential for conversations for that to be incorporated into highway work, but I did not have the authority to have that conversation or do anything at the point of development. It's kind of their responsibility. They do have it separated out in the plans as like contract by others. And their response to me says, town said they'd pay for that. My response to them says, no. I said there could be discussion on who could pay for that because of that larger project. It'd be my recommendation. I did speak to them on the phone last Friday when they were trying to coordinate those schedules. If they couldn't be here, they asked if they could maybe address the council on that separate issue on just payment of it at a later council meeting and proceed forward with the building permit in time being. So
I think we need to wrap the whole thing once and be done with it. I'm not going to put a ribbon, partially tie a ribbon on this thing. I think that's.
I agree, there should not be a permit issued with that back. Because it's one thing to say that it might be addressed in the state project, but at the same time, that I am assuming they won't start construction now or in the spring.
Yep.
So I think the permit should have everything locked up at one time.
So it's a council. I mean, I think, I would say, if anything, I would compromise and say we could pick up the curb and the gutter and they could pick up the sidewalk, or as required by the building permit, this whole thing is on them. So we don't have to pick up the curb and gutter. And the curb and gutter is going to cost us probably what, $5,000?
about 30 feet, depending on what the bids come back on. Right now, the current project we have, we are paying $50 a linear foot, which would come out at $1,500.
$1,500, sorry.
But we've seen much higher than that. If we were to do the driveway, because the other piece of the scope is removing all these concrete, putting the sidewalk back to ADA standards across just the sidewalk portion. The rest would just be converted to landscape area or green space or whatever you call it. But if we were to consume all of that, I think your $5,000 number is probably pretty close. And the curb and gutter, it's probably about $1,500. That they could remove all of the sidewalk, concrete, et cetera, put the sidewalk back, the curb and gutter would be cut, but there'd be no driveway there. But I've seen people drive across stuff like that all the time, so that would certainly be.
Why would we pick up the bill for that?
Only because there's been other instances that we've closed down that, I mean, and what Abe has suggested is as the YDOT 191 project is coming through, there are a couple accesses that YDOT has said we have too many accesses, they need to be closed. And so we have agreed as part of our 191 plan to put that in the plan that we would pay for the closing of those accesses. In this instance, this is not an access that was going to be closed necessarily. And this is something that they themselves are closing because they're actually putting in a drive-through. So this isn't really our responsibility. It would be us spending $1,500 of taxpayer money to be nice to a business, and so to some degree. But you could argue that, hey, we're doing it for others, let's just do it for them too. So I'm torn between the two. I was hoping that we would have a representative here, but you know, my leaning is they are required by law to do this. So I just say, let them do it. And 1,500 is not like a gigantic chunk. And rather than making a burden on our taxpayers, they can do it. Be my inclination at this point.
We'll have all the equipment there anyway.
Yeah. I mean, they're always doing concrete for the 88 thing and everything else. So that would be my take. Because the other thing was, as Abe and I were talking about, is if this curb and gutter was going to somehow be reworked or damaged in the process of the YDOT project, then I would say by all means wait and let's just do it all together. But really, YDOT's just going to put asphalt up to the concrete level, and there shouldn't be any damage to the concrete. I mean, there shouldn't be. Inevitably, there could be.
I'm sure there'll be a line item for damaged concrete.
That's right, but this is not, this curb and gutter along Pine Street is not part of the 191 project. Therefore, I would just say, yeah, let's go ahead and I just let the burden be on them, and everything else in the staff recommendation I'm fine with, so.
A couple of thoughts on this. It feels like the timing of this is not going to line up exactly with the YDOT
Nope.
project, so it doesn't make sense
To leave it open
to
for
leave
a
it
year.
for that. Yeah, and we don't want the sidewalk to not be there for that amount of time. Second of all, is that typical for us to pay for curb and gutter on the highway? Shouldn't that be a YDOT?
Generally in YDOT projects, it comes down to a 90-10 breakout. So when I say we're paying it, it'd just be part of the YDOT project and we would be paying a certain portion. In this particular case, we would probably be paying for it and then it would be done prior to the YDOT project. But on the YDOT grant that we have coming through 191, we're at a 90-10 breakout.
Okay.
And we've done a few in the past as part of the Pine Street beautification project.
Yeah.
If you guys recall, the Wrangler Cafe used to have access right on the corner. The town paid to remove that access, put the curb and gutter back at type A, and
But I feel like,
landscape it from a safety standpoint, how we did that landscape for the whole.
I mean, the argument, I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean, as you know, the right of way goes from building front to building front. So in theory, you could argue, hey, this is your problem, not our problem. However,
well, and I
that's
feel
not
like
usually how it rolls.
these other projects that it's been, you know, we've done a project and we've gotten rid of an access at our request.
That's right.
Not because the business wants something
That's
different.
Mhm.
And the other question I have is like, how does this affect, like the traffic study that we did and we looked at? How is this going to impact with the amount of people that'll be turning, but not at the corner? Is that going to create more confusion, especially when they're, you know, across the street-ish from Obo's? And, you know, I could see this potentially causing more traffic problems, especially if it happens to coincide with school drop-off or pickup times.
Go ahead and jump in, 'cause I think this is actually a workable solution, but go.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken with Darren Kaufman extensively about this. Darren is involved in all the traffic master planning, and quite frankly, he's the best traffic engineer I know. I mean, he's very to the book. So we discussed, okay, what's the benefits? If they change, we call it Chaos Corner, because Chaos Corner is full of accesses and roads and speeding vehicles at the entrance of town and all of that. Fremont Lake Road at some weird angle. Like there's a lot going on in this corner of town. Darren and I talked about it extensively, and it does reduce the conflict points, is what it's actually called, is a conflict point. It removes 12 conflict points from Chaos Corner. So a conflict point is every place a pedestrian, or I'm sorry, a vehicle route crosses another vehicle route. So every turning, moving, et cetera. We believe it will simplify somewhat. Is it going to make a drastic difference for improvement? We don't think so. But from the safety of that corner, confusion of turn signals, I do think it will improve it. How much more traffic are we going to see on a drive-through versus a normal bank? I don't know, and it's a really hard one to calculate. It's subjective. Both Darren and I believe that by removing the access and making further horizontal separation from Bridger Avenue, this does improve the safety of chaos.
And you'll also have the fact that you're gonna have traffic going in a direction as opposed to.
Right.
A back.
Well, I mean, that other way, they were all coming out
That's
onto
right.
Pine Street. And I'm thinking about the potential for more traffic in that spot. And that driveway looks awfully narrow for
Well,
people
what's gonna
coming
happen
in
is
and going out.
they'll come out that way.
Yeah, but what about the people that just go into park to go inside? You know, they're still parking in the front, have to back up where somebody else is trying to pull in. It just seems like a potential for chaos that could then back out into the highway.
It certainly is tight, I will give you that. It does meet all the code requirements. Code 24-foot travel ways, and 24 parking lots or parking spaces. So it does have the dimensions to work. I've voiced my concern how they put their ADA ramp in there. Their ADA specialists inform me that I'm wrong. I disagree with them, but they have it on the driver. Yeah, they have the ADA on the driver's side of the ADA parking space, which is allowed by code. But per code, if you have one ADA space, it has to be van accessible. So they made all the dimensions van accessible. Problem is, for a van accessible site, the landing has to be on the passenger side. So a van would have to back into that space. I've voiced my concerns, but they've also provided all of the justification from the code that I don't feel like I can govern it much more than what is there.
So they can come in from Pine Street, but they can also go back out through that. It's not a one-way.
We discussed.
I feel like they could easily
One-way was
just-
discussed.
They just drive right on through their drive-through and it wouldn't be a problem.
Correct.
Okay.
We have discussed it being a one-way. They're unwilling to commit to that at this point in time. I think WIDOT has indicated if there's ever an issue resolved, that the first thing they would ask for is just way off.
An N only, yeah.
Can we require that?
Yes. However, it's a complicated request. And to be very frank here, I mean, this project is probably the only project in Pinedale that received any legislative interest.
And by this project, you mean?
That corner is the only time that we've had any legislators actually show up to have a discussion on anything that happened in Pinedale. So this went up the flagpole pretty darn high, and Abe and Darren worked really hard to make this acceptable as much as possible, just to be clear.
That is not at all clear.
That's not, but.
I'm like,
I think it's very clear.
I mean, say it plainly if you want to say it, but, you know, are you saying that there's currently a push to leave it like it is in the plan?
This is the plan that's been presented to us and has now been approved by WIDOT. In this discussion, we had several legislators who came from out of town to a meeting specifically about this property. And they spoke very publicly and very strongly about support of this project. And WIDOT felt much pressured in going this direction. It does work. To be very clear, it does work.
Better than what it is.
It's better than I originally thought when I first heard this project, because Abe and I were both very much against this. And then we saw the plan, we're like, okay, this does make some sense. I can actually live with this. So I think the only concern you have here, but we really don't have a lot of, we can make this a one-way access. I think we have that ability, but you're not going to be able to play with much more than this, just to be very clear.
So I'm just picturing myself going to the bank and needing to turn left off of WIDOT, like if I was headed east and have to turn left and I'm looking at the traffic coming. I'm not necessarily going to notice if a vehicle's about to back out of one of those parking spots. And so, yeah, I'm pulling in, somebody's backing out, and it happens quickly because I have to hurry and turn before the next vehicles come on the highway.
And you have 20 feet there.
Yeah, there should be enough to queue a vehicle.
If you had a vehicle backing out, to your point, if this vehicle was backing out, let's say,
Yeah, but he's
And
not
you're-
backing that way, probably. He's backing that way.
Well,
And then
yeah,
you're gonna
yeah.
be face to face with me.
and then you're
you
gonna
won't even
have,
want
you're
to
gonna have this entire distance here that you're driving on the driveway, and you'll be here, so you're gonna have probably a good 20 feet right there that your vehicle comes in, and then all of a sudden, I mean,
I drive
could there be a
through
fender
all the
bender?
truck,
There
you
could be-
know.
I know, I get it.
I just don't want somebody to be, trying to turn in and then not be able to get all the way in the driveway and get hit by somebody on the highway.
T-boned by somebody on the highway,
Isn't that the same situation that exists now?
there's no change from the way it is, other than the fact that they have.
Well, right now, though, you pull in and you park sideways. And so then, there's I think, a little easier way to see, but I mean, it's a terrible parking lot regardless, but. And this is probably better. I'm just, while we're talking about it, I thought, let's look at the potential problems.
I feel like driving through the outside lane of their drive-through would be awfully easy, but if
Be a
the
simple
powers,
solution. The only problem, though, is that that's a heavy use corner for people that are dropping kids off at the middle school or high school. And it gets pretty backed up anyway. Not a problem in the morning probably, but when you go to pick kids up, I could see that getting really congested. And then the people coming the other way, there's a line backed up and you couldn't turn into oboes, potentially. So I'm just,
you would turn, yeah, I mean, you'd be, yeah.
I'm just looking at, we're supposed to evaluate it, so.
I think it's amusing because they're actually losing parking in this situation, but
Yeah,
And if I'm understanding this correctly, I think the other part of this mess that we're not talking about is the parking on Bridger on the right of way. That is gonna be retained, that angular parking.
Yes, that is fully within the right of way. That's maintained by the town. The concrete curb that exists there now, I believe, would remain in place. They don't intend to remove.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's also a mess.
But they're gonna lose that parking.
yeah, they're gonna lose.
Yeah, they'll lose
This
that
is the
whole
drive,
aisle.
this becomes a driveway, right, where the current, to your point, where you're parking east-west, that's gone. You will pull in and then you just go through like that, yeah.
It just feels like it's gonna be really tight.
It will be tight.
This looks very similar to the setup that Bank of Sublette County has, although their exit off of the Pine Street Road is right at the intersection, but this turnaround is tight.
Well, and the difference there too is that their drive-through, there's no barrier, you can exit where the drive-through
Prior
is,
to,
and
yeah.
here there's gonna be a concrete wall.
Yep.
I mean, we can come back and have a discussion about what we want to do on access on that there's no problem. I mean, this is something we can come back and revisit 3 months from now. We can actually skip.
I can make one comment, say town council approved it on condition, and that's a one-way. They will have no choice but to either go one way. I don't think it's gonna kill the project.
The problem is, to your point, is even if it's still one way, if the guy pulls in, he's gonna back up and go that way.
Yeah, but at least he is kind of backing up into the spot that's not really the driveway. Because if he backs the other way, then he blocks off that.
But if he backs up this way.
Yeah.
And then you're pulling in, you could have your fender bender.
You could, yeah. Well, and I also wonder, like, how tight is it gonna be if you were to make people exit through the drive-through? Sometimes those are pretty narrow, and especially with the concrete wall where the other parking matches up to it off of Bridger, it might not be the easiest thing to do either, if we made them do that.
I mean, I think for right now, I think we should let them build it, do it what we're suggesting. They can paper the sidewalk and the curb and gutter. Let's get it going. And if after we see this going and we feel that it's unsafe 6 months from now, we come back and just say, this is a one-way street. But rather than try to solve a problem, because I'm hoping that people are better drivers.
Not a street.
Not a street, yeah. Access point, my apologies.
Can we do that after the fact?
No?
I question that. It's brutal. Control the traffic.
Like a safety piece to it.
Okay.
If we clearly see that it's less safe for.
I
those
tried to
sections.
keep the ball down the field, but.
I'd rather get it right from the start. But yeah, I don't, without
I think
having
if you make
someone
it
here
one
to
way, I
explain
don't-
like how wide that exit area, because it looks from the drawing, it looks like you'd have enough on that far east side that you'd be able to drive through, but I don't know what all is gonna be there.
All right, I actually have one with the dimensions on it. It's just hard to sort through that.
It's not super wide as it is.
30
I'm
feet.
guessing it's not gonna, that, you know, that concrete wall up against the parking off of Bridger, I'm guessing that's not gonna move. And so,
You want me to measure?
well, the distance between the building and that concrete wall where the front of the vehicles on Bridger would be. Because if you're gonna then add like 2 lanes of a drive-through, which I think is what was on that plan, well, 3, it looks like. 3 driving, I don't know how you're gonna do that. There's 3 driving.
12 foot, 13 some change, and then 12 and some change.
And those things, I mean, I know personally, when I go through the drive-through with the truck, I have to pull the mirrors in or I'm gonna clip stuff. And so that's how tight some of these drive-throughs are. Like that first spot's probably cars only. But that far spot is wider, but where does that wall hit? Because it doesn't, you know, it's hard to know if there would be space there or not. And I mean, I've parked in that section before, so I know there's space to park, but it doesn't seem like there's space to drive 3 vehicles side by side without the middle things that you need at the bank.
31 feet between the wall and the building.
31 feet?
So how is that gonna?
That doesn't square with what their drawings are. Because they're 37 feet on the drawings.
The 12 feet what you drive down on. What exists.
12, 13, and 12, but that's still more than 31 feet.
Well, and is that drawing, like this drawing only shows 2, see? So
Oh, sorry.
Which drawing are we looking at?
I was looking at this one.
I'm looking at the one on page 132.
I'm on 138.
Yeah, yes, sir.
See, their measurements show 40'6" and a quarter. From the building to the, and that must be measuring all the way to Bridger Avenue, which would be no parking on Bridger.
Yeah, this was 38 on, yeah. So. From Google.
I feel like this needs to be addressed as far as like, what is the actual distance and what is the actual plan? Because we've got contradictory things here.
This is the plan right here. It's up on the screen.
Right.
And is that the same as 137, which has a measurement shown of 40'6" and a quarter?
Yes.
I think we just measured and they don't have 40'6" and a quarter.
I trust their survey far more than I would trust an area photographer. Like this is a surveyed site. I don't go out and measure everything when someone does a topographic survey and designs, so I have to depend on the engineers who do the job. So.
Okay, but does this eliminate that parking that's off of Bridger then?
This is to the curve, the existing curve. Existing curb and gutters on the east. I got some spot shots on that curb and gutter, and then the existing buildings on the west. Right around to there, the valley gutter, you can still see there's another. It's not far from that curb and gutter, that valley gutter, 12 feet maybe 14. Which we've all agreed that that's not the best layout of parking in the world, but.
No, I'm not trying to save that parking by any stretch. It's,
Yeah,
as,
as
a business, they don't have parking.
Right of way. It's not on their right.
Yeah.
Well, and addressing that parking, is there a way that we could limit the length of the vehicles that are allowed to park there?
That's town right away, so you guys could do whatever you like to.
Because I feel like, you know, a car might fit there just fine, but a big, long, extended cab truck,
You can change it parallel parking.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I think
that,
the problem is you get big trucks that park there because they can't use the bank's parking because they don't fit, to your
Right.
point earlier.
Yeah, as it currently sits.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be in the, Did
I do like
see
the idea-
parking at the backside of the building?
Yes.
And they had the Summit building, as I'm sure somewhat of an overflow, to be fair.
Mhm.
They only legally have a 20-foot egress on the Summit building, but they do not own it.
Agreed.
Okay.
I'm just saying as a
People could
possible
park
customer,
there, yeah.
I would probably just park there and move and walk back, but that's just me.
Well, they do have like marked parking on 138, or it shows parking in the back, and that might be,
They have staff parking in the back.
Get a big old, they have a huge bank. Summit buildings. They could probably make it all.
I do like Mr. Wood's suggestion of converting that to parallel, because there's not a lot. Doesn't seem like that those parallel or those angled spots get a lot of use. It's always one or two.
it's one or two and usually very long vehicles.
Yeah, but if we switched that to parallel, that might alleviate some of the mess of backing and all of that off of Berkshire.
I think that's a separate issue, right?
It is, but
Okay.
it's part of the traffic quagmire.
We're not doing anything yet, so. Gotta do something now.
So Abe, Ed, are you suggesting that we could go ahead and make this one way now on the entry point?
If they don't like it, they can just ask, come back the next meeting.
And would this be our only
This would
opportunity?
be the time to do it. Before you issue a building permit, showing people pouring.
I mean, they have an ATM set up on that far bank.
Mhm. Well, and-
East
I mean, I'm a
bank.
little
So that's
nervous
definitely a
that
drive.
somebody pulls into the bank, they
Yeah.
want to do their business,
Mhm.
they want to get out, and there's 2 or 3 cars in the drive-through, and you're
Mhm.
sitting there
You gotta
waiting for
wait.
what's his name to
That's
finish
fair.
his business, and you
That's fair.
can't get out because, oops, dropped my pen on the floorboard, excuse me as I get out and get my pen.
But if
Well,
you're
where's my
backed up out here, you're in the same position either way.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
I wish someone was here because I would like to know, like what the plan over here, I mean, I can see, I don't know.
I mean, can we
Seems awfully
table this
tight.
until we have a rep? Or is this like needs to be?
Is 2 weeks or a month gonna delay their
I think what
project?
they're trying to make sure is that they're working inside of the building right now, and demo is not governed by the town. They've been in there doing some demo work, some different things.
Prepping.
Putting it back together is all governed by their state fire marshal permit, which they have to see. We don't deal with remodels. We kick that to the state fire marshal. And so they have approval from the state fire marshal office for the building addition portion. The site plan, I think, is more critical that it's figured out by April 1st, but they also can't theoretically start putting the building back together until they have a building permit from the town. So, and I don't know that it's more of an enforcement issue. I'm not worried about them doing something on the site in the next 2 weeks. I know inside the building, they're building it in accordance with the state fire marshal's office. I don't see the end of the world if we delay it for 2 weeks and we allow them to continue on their remodel and ask them to be present so we can discuss the site concerns at the next meeting.
Let it proceed.
It'd be more productive than what we're doing right now. If they had representation at a meeting.
Right now, we're just spending their money.
This is the result of variance that was given when the bank was put in there without any parking.
Was that always a bank?
What's that?
The building, was that always a bank?
No, actually, it was a convenience store.
Maverick for a while.
It was a shootout there when George Bush was here visiting James Baker.
I was thinking Maverick was on the other, where the First Western is. So I'm a block off.
Gonna gloss over that? There's a.
I know history that I feel like we should talk more about.
Secret Service was staying behind in the
Athens,
hotel area. Well, the sheriff had their 9 or 10.
It has still has a marker.
History.
All right, so
History.
council, your desire to table this, do you want to table it until the next meeting? I will be absent, but I think you can handle this without me, or do you want to table it until the first meeting in February?
Can we make that decision based on when the representative can make it? possibly?
I mean, I think at this point, if you tell me you have to be here, they're gonna probably be here because they're gonna want to get this thing done.
Okay.
That would be my take, but. Just double check.
No, I mean, it's fine. We can handle it without you. I just mean,
Yeah,
if they can't make it again.
okay, well, let's make the motion that we'll table until we know representatives can be here, and if that's the next meeting or the meeting after, that's fine. How about that?
Works.
And even online is fine. We just need to be able to ask questions.
Yep. All right, can I have a motion?
Move that we table F4, the 221 East Pine Commercial Building Permit.
Until,
Until representation can answer some questions.
okay. For a second?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilwoman Boyce to a table, 221 East Pine Street Commercial Building Permit until such time that representatives of the applicant can attend a meeting, either at the next meeting or the meeting after. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Here's our keys. Yeah. Say don't break your finger.
Pages of this plan.
Oh, yeah. Anybody already?
69.
Wow,
Yeah,
I was almost there.
My computer was about to break.
It's right here.
There's like inside of me.
Go across the top next to mine.
There we go. All right, next item on the agenda is F5, the wastewater treatment facility phase 1 engineering professional service agreement. Oh, I read it as SPA, PSA. It's like, what the heck does SPA stand for? All right, this is an agreement with Jorkins Associates for the town of Pinedale's wastewater treatment facility, providing engineering services for phase 1 design and construction in the amount not to exceed $123,291.78. Unless you want to make it cheaper. Abe, any comments on this? Very straightforward, but.
The only thing that council should be aware of is that we did pull any improvements to septic receiving budgetary concerns of our ability to pay for this project and phase 2 engineering. So we'll proceed with this scope of work, and should we have funding left over to get the septic receiving done as we initially intended, then we would ask Jorgensen what we can do to amend this contract at that point in time. But right now, this is where I would recommend we move forward with on phase 1, and then at our next meeting, I intend to have phase 2, which is the secondary treatment design contract, in front of you guys for consideration.
Okay. Any questions for Jorgensen? You got a good representative, strong. Hearing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve a PSA with Jorgensen Associates for the Town of Pinedale wastewater treatment facility phase 1 project, providing engineering services for phase 1 design and construction in an amount not to exceed $123,291.78.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilman Loftus, to approve a PSA with Jorgensen Associates for Town of Pinedale's wastewater treatment facility phase 1 in the amount of $123,291.78. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up is the FAA terminal funding grant application. I think we want to increase the amount that's in here. Is that correct?
Yep, Mr. Mayor and Council, this is the application we put together last year. Didn't quite get submitted. Originally, we had this as a $2 million project. We've upped it in this application to 3, just based on our recent costs looking at other projects. This is a competitive grant across all of America, but what we're looking for is money to remodel and add additions onto the existing FBO building, pilot's lounge, safety, et cetera. Wes, I, and Riley discussed this project this week, and we would like to increase the funding on it to $8.5 million grant apps. And what we would like to do is amend the language that includes fire suppression and public safety improvements at the Pinedale Airport. And in the event we catch lightning and land this grant, that we would be able to apply it to some of the funding possible going on for the hangar project, because that fire suppression system is built for the entirety of the river, not just one facility or another. And so Weston and Riley and I discussed that. We'd like to make that recommendation to you guys. From a grant standpoint, this would be 90% federal, 95% federal, 5% local match, and there's a chance if we're to land it that the state has always covered half of the local match. So we're talking probably 2.5% public town of Pinedale funds to go to this, which would come out of our county co-op account. So we're worst case scenario, probably somewhere around $150,000 match. Best case scenario, probably a $75,000 match to pull this off.
Okay.
Is
A good deal.
a deal.
Deal of a deal.
And it's very competitive. There's no guarantee that we will get it. We've tried to put it together in a way that helps us get it, but it's very, very competitive.
Wes, do you want to say anything?
No, I think Gabe covered it very well. I think those were all good suggestions that we discussed today to kind of leverage the funds towards our other project. And yeah, just underscored that it is a very, very competitive project. I think everybody and their dog is throwing their hat in the ring. So, but we'll give it a shot and see what happens. This is the last year for it. So I think Jackson and Rock Springs were the only other two successful applicants in the last 4 cycles. So I think I like the fire suppression addition because it helps emphasize that there is a safety and emergency systems need, which helps those projects score more highly. So I think that's a very wise addition.
Riley, any comments?
I can't say anything that hasn't been said yet.
Wisdom. All right. Has anybody got a problem with this?
I would just echo, I think it's a great idea to add that because that if we're already spending money on that other project, if we can use some of this, it's a great opportunity.
Yep. All right, can I have a motion to approve the application 3.5? 5% match.
You want this one?
Sure. I'll move that we approve an application to the FAA Airport Terminal Program for the remodel in addition to office space, welcoming area and pilot lounge for the Ralph Wentz and fire suppression for the Ralph Wentz Field FBO in the amount of $3 million with a 3.5. Am I? We talked, okay, we changed it in real time. I thought it was $3.5 million with a 5% local match. Apologies.
No,
Sorry.
Second?
I'll second it.
All right. Moved by Councilman Cosiba, seconded by Councilwoman Boyce to approve an application to the FAA Airport Terminal Program for the remodel in addition to office space, welcoming area, pilot lounge, and fire suppression for the Ralph Wentz Field FBO in the amount of $3.5 million with a 5% local match. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is the FBO remodel update. Some people have been working very hard over the Christmas holidays. I was gonna say Christmas break, but it wasn't really a Christmas break, was it?
Who's next?
Who do you want
No, I
to,
gotta do my normal again.
who wants to talk about it?
All right, Mr. Mayor, I will start. He can tell me more, but the reason we wanted to report back to you guys, because we're kind of eating up the rest of our budget. We have about, at the time of this meeting, about $1,200 remaining in our budget for the remodel out there. And just based on kind of the changing scope and tearing apart a building that is old and has greater needs than you realize until you start opening walls up, we do think we're going to need approximately $5,000 more to complete the project this winter, this phase of the project. The staff is completing all of the work, and so far it's going very well. We have one bathroom that should be open this week. The upstairs bathroom version is almost fully framed out and ready for more parts to come in. We didn't want to buy more until we talked to you guys about some of those costs that are coming our way. We're painting, everything's moving along pretty good. Riley has given a lot, but he's been busier at the airport than we anticipated over the last few weeks, which is good for revenue at the airport, but bad for Riley helping with the remodel times. Overall, the project's going, I think, pretty well. I think here in a couple of weeks, you could go out there and see some major differences from the building before and after. The current bathrooms are 45 years old and no insulation, no ventilation, hollow core doors, like very rudimentary, fixing all of that. They're turning out pretty nice. So I'm excited for it. Town staff has worked out there hard. Chelsea's put a lot of blood, sweat and tears out there. Riley's put some blood, sweat and tears. Kevin, myself, Kurt, Kenny, as people have time and bandwidth, we've been allocating resources out there and using up free time.
I hope there's not been any real blood out there.
No, there's been a little blood. I'm not sure about that. There's been a little blood. But I think it's going pretty well.
Yeah, no, it's a significant change from the facility we had before. I'll say that at the very minimum. It's really shaping up to be a far superior product than the bathrooms we previously had. Say that the one question is there any compliance that will be quite done in this product, and hopefully get that FAA terminal funding, we can get that done on that part of it. Because yeah, as it sits right now, we've essentially gutted one room over 2 floors, and it's been significant change and lots of finding weird stuff that shouldn't be done like that.
Go figure. Yeah. Never heard that before.
The mayor and council, some of our other bids have come in lower than we anticipated. And so we have the money in the airport budget. It just needs reallocated kind of to this project. And I would recommend that at this point, we move 5,000 and we'll report back. I think we're going to come up against that number. Like it's going to be pretty tight at that, but we'll come back to you guys. Should we, we'll have a lot more done $5,000 from now than we do now.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the reallocation of $5,000 from remaining budgets in the 2026 airport budget to aid in the completion of the FBO facility remodel project.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilman Loftus to approve the reallocation of $5,000 from the remaining budgets in the 2026 airport budget to complete the FBO facility remodel project. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next item is F8. This is the hangar construction project update. Wes is back online. That means money. Whenever Wes comes online, the video comes off, that means there's money, more real money involved. Go ahead, Wes, Dave.
Wes, you want to start or do you want me to?
Go ahead and start and I'll fill in any gaps. I'm glad I have, hopefully that's not a negative connotation when you see my face, but.
I actually, yeah, I like seeing you, so.
All right, Mr. Mayor and Council, the first page of this document is what we call the VA log, value assessment log for the P&A hangar project. We've been working with Q&D Construction as well as Ardura and our design team almost on a weekly basis. And right before the Christmas holidays, Q&D submitted us their first cost estimate based on the SD drawings that the Ardura team had put together. That project was almost $7 million, somewhere, I think it was about $6.8 million. And I think all of us had a bit of a heart attack over the 2 weeks following. We worked very hard to say, hey, we have to get this down to a project expense that we can justify even moving on to DDs and other next pieces of the project. So what you see is on the right column, values that we have eliminated from the project or changed scope of work, and Q&D and Ardura have been working together to, hey, if we remove this piece of the scope or this piece, or if we modify this, we didn't realize this was going to be that expensive. Can we modify this portion? And they're going back and forth with subs and suppliers and putting together these cost estimates. So what we see right now is a hard bill of $3.2 million. And by the time we still have almost $400,000 in there in contingency, and then our constructions are at risk, or builder risk and other items, we come to a total project cost of $4.75 million, which we know is still above town council's desire for this project. We're working hard to lower that number. I do know we still have $400,000 in contingency. We have other items we're discussing tomorrow to try to pull that down. We're really hoping to get down to that 3.8 number that we started this project at, $3.8 million. It's been a bit of a battle. Things are coming in a lot higher than we thought they were. I know the architect team was working with the red iron building to say, hey, if we reduce the height of the building, if we reduce this, reduce that, but we're trying to keep the footprint and the door the same, because those are the two things that govern what aircraft we can fit in that hangar. We're really working on trying to reduce that cost. So before I move on to the next piece of my this update, I just wanted to ask council if you guys had questions or comments about this driving number or et cetera.
I do have a comment.
Yeah, we talked about this at the airport board meeting, so I know what's going on.
Sorry, Councilman.
I think we got to raise our threshold.
Not yet.
Yeah, right, but
Yeah.
I think it's inevitable with the rising cost of building.
Yeah. And I think, one of the things that we've talked about, and I think this is just so important for people to understand, is that there is a return on investment on this building. I had a conversation the other day with somebody at Jacksonville Airport, the number of aircraft, and you and I talked about it, and I talked to somebody a bit later, it's like, the amount of aircraft that are looking for a place to park is really high. So building the right door, building the right footprint, I hate to be cliche, but if you build it, they will come. And this will, get filled. And that's what we want. We want to build something that people are going to use and not build something that afterwards, oops, we just can't get everything in there. So I wouldn't disagree, but I think Councilman, Wes needs to know that there's, like a pain threshold here, Wes. You got to fight back.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and Council, I think we've made that pretty clear. What I would also add is this is kind of, I would say that maybe an unfortunate part of the CMAR process, but also a good part of the process. We kind of traditionally we design it, you go out to bid, you get this big scary number. Now we got to do all these value engineering things now. We're having the opportunity to do that now. And keep in mind, they also, these guys carry a lot of risk doing this method. So they have a lot of contingency in there because they base this estimate off of a 15% set of plans. There is contingencies on contingencies in here, and all their contingencies calculated on a percent basis. So I confidently feel like there's still a lot of squishiness in this number just because we are progressing it with design. And we're gonna do a design development. We say DD submittal here at the end of the week. They will do another estimate based on that set, and now we'll have more information. And then that number should continue to go down. As Mason from Q&D put it, he's like, I've never had a meeting on a schematic design estimate go well, because they kind of aim at the very, very worst case scenario, and we get that number drilled down. And also, these numbers it's still an estimate. These numbers have not gone out to bid. So there's still a competitive nature that needs to happen there. These numbers are based on, market feedback, their expertise, what they're hearing from subs and suppliers. So it's still based on a lot of information, but we still got to competitively bid all of these aspects too. So they've still got a lot of contingency in there, but we've made it known, like, we've still got to get this number down, or we can't move forward with the project. So every week, this is a topic of discussion, and we keep chipping away at it. And I think we're certainly going to get closer, but I think the real number is going to lie somewhere in between what we thought we were when we were planning it and this number here. I think it's how far can we slide it further to that original number, but are we going to get there? I think it's probably unlikely that we do, but we're working on it.
Okay. So this is just an update. There is no action being required. Just to be very clear, this is just discussion.
DDs are due this week, so Wes's team are supposed to have DDs by Thursday.
Okay.
Goes to the next team. I do want to talk about power.
Yeah, I know. So
Yeah, I have a question about, you said one of the ways that you cut was to look at the height of the building. What do we lose if we lose height? Presumably the door is still as high as it was going to be, but.
Really nothing. I think at the SD level, they're looking at a pretty basic building because you don't know what type of door type and what type of structural steel you're going to need and require from your metal building to support that. So I think it was a little higher than it needed to be, which makes all your siding higher and all those things. Mm-hmm. Now that we are kind of focused in on what door we would like to select and move forward, they know what structural supports are needed. So do you think they can lower the height of the building? They don't, for instance, like a bifold door, how much dead space is in a bifold door, 4 or 5 feet on that size?
It depends on the make and model, because there's some high lift bifolds that you essentially have about 2 feet of dead space. But typically you would expect anywhere from 6 to 8 feet of dead space that is then unusable with bifold.
Yeah, so to do that, you got a 28 opening with 6 feet of dead space, that's all building in between. So now that we know the door, that can.
Not to mention that's all building where heat just gets to go.
Yeah.
Hang it out there too.
And Abe, if I could add into, another consideration that we are working through as part of this process is, as you guys can imagine, that door height is driven by the tail of the aircraft. Well, you only need that height for a third of the door, not the entire span. You need the whole span for the wings, but you only need the height for that small area. So we're looking at 2 options. One is that entire width of the door is that 28 feet, or and they're pretty common, there's like 3 sections, and the middle section is taller for that tail, and the other sections are smaller. And that can actually dictate where you mount the motor in the building, and you can lose some height that way. So that's actually just a conversation we had kind of through some emails that we'll talk about a little bit more in depth tomorrow. But hopefully that kind of paints a little better picture of how we can adjust the height of the building when we're not actually losing functionality.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense.
And most airplanes, like a 24-foot door would be more than adequate. Most airplanes, it's just the globals, and the globals go in one way and one out one way. We won't be.
Yeah.
You're not going to maneuver or twist them inside of that building much. So.
Well, and that's the whole point of this project. We want to make sure we're able to take those bigger ones.
That's right.
Those
are the money makers.
Yep.
Okay, next is the power. It's gonna take a year to get this transformer, so best we get moving on it now.
Yeah, and so I'm hoping we have a load sheet tomorrow. Wes hasn't told me yet if we'll actually have it, but one of the things we're supposed to have is a load sheet, so we'll have enough power to do their calculations on 3-phase versus single phase. I think we are very committed to the 3-phase project at this point in time for fire suppression purposes, as well as the door motor. Right now, we're looking at a cost estimate from Rocky Mountain Power of approximately $45,000. Heather gave me that, saying, hey, I'm doing the best I can with this little information that I have. That might be a little bit more. The town is responsible for installing the conduit from the current location of the building. In order for them to order the equipment, which is 1 year out, they have to have a check in hand. And so the town staff, we're working to try to have this contract in place by the next meeting so that we can write the check and get it done. Now, that leaves us in a bit of a flush with the contractors. Does the town just deliver all of this power outside of the CMAR contract, and they proceed to take it from the transformer that Rocky Mountain Power will place and get it done? Because we're also working with people who install the 6-inch conduit, and we're being told if we order conduit in February, we'll probably have it in June. If we order in April, May, we may not have it till September, and that's the conduit that goes in the ground. So we're faced up against some decisions that we're going to be bringing back to you guys that have real costs behind them. Of do we upfront this cost and maybe not get reimbursed on it with any type of grant, because we need to make sure that the project stays progressing long lead times.
I think you've got to just keep moving. There's nothing you can do about how long it takes to get things.
Yeah, I can tell you, a year is exactly the number I've heard on multiple places nationwide. So do you need us approved for 45,000? No?
I'll be back next council meeting, hopefully with a real number. All Rocky Mountain Power needs is a load sheet from our design team, and they can lock us in on this number, and we can get that under contract.
All right, quote the card, make it so. All right, next item, the exciting stuff. That's all exciting, isn't it? It's all
That's
exciting.
what we're here for.
Safe Streets and Roads for All Grant Award. We just awarded $3.3 million from the US government for our US 191 project. So that is very good news. That is the result of a lot of work from Chelsea and Abe and Chelsea. Applications and letters of recommendation and letters of support from our congressional delegation and our state officials as well. So a lot of people went into this, and that's going to help pay for all the work and pedestrian safety and tunnel to ball fields and bulb outs, and it's going to make the project pretty real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's pretty competitive. I think, to be fair, I think it was a pretty competitive grant process for us to get awarded. It's no small thing.
So I just looked, according to ChatGPT and all the press releases, this is the first implementation grant awarded to the state of Wyoming. There were 7 grant applications for funding only in the past years, and those have been awarded, but those were the plan to get them so they can submit on implementation. Now, someone may have got implementation money just like we just got. I don't know that for certain. However, this is, without that plan, without the transportation master plan, it was going on last years, this would have never been possible.
Yeah.
And leveraging $3.5 million into an already $4 million project from the state to redo Pine Street, this should be a very significant project to kind of overhaul our Main Street through downtown. I have an opportunity to make it pedestrian safe, a lot better fluidity, a lot better interaction with our downtown. It's exciting.
And YDOT should like Pinedale a little bit better.
They should, when somebody else brings in 3.3.
That's right. I'll take the thank you from the governor.
I have a meeting tomorrow with the state. They reached out to us and said the governor does have a pool of 75 million, I believe, is the pool that they started with to match some of these federal funds to come into the state. And this would certainly qualify. So YDOT is meeting with us regarding, can the local match portion of this be funded by at least a portion of the governor's pool, of which a 700,000 local match would be smaller for us, or maybe they would pay it all. I don't know exactly. So that is the next steps.
Would take that. That'll pay for the hangar.
And I just want to say, I'm so impressed with you guys. We're constantly hearing, oh, we got this grant that nobody else has gotten, or we have this opportunity to work with Blue Blade. You know, it's kind of the pilot for the entire state, and that doesn't happen just by accident. So good job, staff. You guys are doing great.
Excited. Caught lightning in a bottle. This one, I was not expecting a yes. And we got it right before Christmas. So
Yeah.
Nice.
Merry Christmas. All right, so
That's gonna be cool.
Max, you'll be reading about that in my minute.
That's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah. F10. This is pathway connectivity project right-of-way acquisition parcel 1, parcel 2, parcel 3, and parcel 4. So these are all similar discussions. Abe, I'll let you, I have to walk through it, but.
I want to add, Mayor, these are about 18 months worth of federal process for the acquisition of right-of-way for the pathway connectivity project. These 4 right-of-ways are to complete a pathway from Pine Street all the way up to the elementary school on Barber Creek. There's 3 different landowners, 4 parcels. They all followed the federal process, of which Wes and his team led us through on the pathway connectivity project. This is the catalyst for us to make sure we have the right of way and we can finish that design project with Ardura and be shovel ready for future phases. We followed a federal process, which means Kenny did all of the conversations. Kenny hired a federal appraiser that came out, and it followed every sequence of this is what the land is worth. Here is the town's offer. 3 of the 4 landowners accepted the offer. 1 landowner had a counter, I think to be a very valid counter just based on the property. And that was reassessed, and all 4 have accepted these offers. As soon as these are paid for, the town can record these easements and then release the checks. And we will have a perpetual easement process. So, and we will need help getting them recorded because it's your check.
Any questions from council?
Again, big kudos to town staff and contractors for working through this process. It has been a bear, I know, and it's really exciting to see this come to fruition.
So I have this as there's an 896, there's a 43,000, of 34,000, and 63,000, and that's the 4 parcels and right of ways. So we can go ahead and proceed with F10. We'll start with parcel 1, and this should be just copy and paste. But if there's any questions, I'd like to see if we can get them answered now before, so we can just flow through them. None? All right, F10, who wants to take it?
I move that we approve the acquisition of a permanent 20-foot right-of-way easement and a temporary construction easement across a portion of North Sky Second Filing Edition, Lot 3, as legally described in the easement documents and depicted in Exhibit A from Jason Moyes for a total consideration of $896.
Second.
Right, it's been moved by Councilman Casiva, second by Councilwoman Boyce to approve the acquisition of a permanent 20-foot right-of-way easement and temporary construction easement across a portion of North Sky Second Filing Edition, Lot 3, as legally described in the easement documents and depicted as Exhibit A, Jason Moyes, for a total consideration of $896. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. F10, or 11, sorry.
I move that we approve the acquisition of a permanent 20-foot right-of-way easement and a temporary construction easement across a portion of Bloomfield Edition, Block 3, as legally described in the easement documents and depicted in Exhibit A from Mark and Janelle Paris, trustees, for a total of consideration of $43,350.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Boyce, second by Councilman Casiva to approve the acquisition of a permanent 20-foot right-of-way easement and temporary construction easement across a portion of Bloomfield Edition, Block 3, legally described in the easement documents and depicted in Exhibit A from Mark and Janelle Paris, trustees, for a total consideration of $43,350. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is F12.
You want me to?
You got it.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. I move that we approve the acquisition of a permanent 20-foot right-of-way easement and a temporary construction easement across portions of Bloomfield Edition, blocks 12 and 14, as legally described in the easement documents and depicted in Exhibit A from Inversion S. Elrod LLC, as close as I can get, for a total consideration of $34,476.
I'll second that.
Say it with a French accent.
I was going to say it's Spanish.
Yeah, I think it is Spanish, you're right.
Elrod threw me.
Yeah, so it's been moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilman Loftus to approve the acquisition of a permanent 20-foot right-of-way easement and temporary construction easement across portions of Bloomfield Edition, blocks 12 and 14, as legally described in the easement documents and depicted in Exhibit A from Inversion, I don't know, Elrod LLC, for a total consideration of $34,476. And my apologies for messing your name. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And the final one, Councilman.
I move that we approve the acquisition of a permanent 20-foot right-of-way easement and a temporary construction easement across the portion of Bloomfield Edition, Block 11, as legally described in the easement documents and depicted in Exhibit A from Jason Moyes for a total consideration of $63,170.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Councilman Loftus, second by Councilman Swafford to approve the acquisition of a permanent 20-foot right-of-way easement and a temporary construction easement across a portion of Bloomfield Edition, Block 11, as legally described in the easement documents and depicted in Exhibit A from Jason Moyes for a total consideration of $63,170. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. It's a good thing. We got $3 million to build a tunnel connecting that to the ball field. There we go. A lot of fun.
Woohoo. Big step, getting the elementary school.
This has been a couple of years.
Talking about that. Been talking about that.
Run over.
Little by little.
Play frogs.
It's nice when things, yeah, I was gonna say, it's nice, serious.
Yeah, right. It's a shame.
All right, next item, lead and copper inventory intended use plan. Abe?
Mr. Mayor and Council, the intended use plan annual update is due to the state on January 15th this year. We were originally intending making no application except for lead and copper. Lead and copper inventory, as you guys are aware, we have 80 unknowns still in the town of Pinedale. About 30 of those will be replaced with the with the highway project that we just talked about all that grant funding for. So that's great. So that leaves us about 50 that will remain on the unknowns after the construction season of 2028. Originally, the state indicated that the state has a ton of money to aid in the unknown copper inventory lists. And about $4,000 per each, but it would be a 50% loan, 50% grant by the town of Pinedale. The EPA it was last week, it was not 2 days ago, it was like last Wednesday, finally came out with guidance that we only need to expose 5% of these unknowns, which is 2.5. We need to expose 3 of these and verify 3 to meet our obligations of the 2027 deadline, based on it being loan/grant. And from the standpoint that between myself, Jorgensen, Rio Verde, and Ron Hansen, we've dug up 80% of the town over the last 35 years, and we've never found a lead copper service line. I don't think it's worth the money to go after a loan or a grant. It'd be my recommendation that we do not submit on the IUP for lead and copper inventory in this fiscal year. If that changes 12 months from now, we can certainly have that conversation.
I would agree. Council, comments? Good?
No sense spending money we don't have to.
Good, yep. All right, we agree. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Perfect.
Don't apply. All right, next item.
For all the successful applications, I can't.
I know. I
Yeah,
think
but
we
that
would
makes
successfully
sense.
get this loan if we
Yeah,
wanted
I
it, but
think
I
we
don't
can
think
get
we
that
want the
loan.
loan.
A lot of towns are in a lot worse shape than we are.
Yeah.
Okay, next item is the short-term rental release renewal process. We've been looking at this and how we can make this easier. Obviously, we've now have a couple of years under our belt, so I think there's some really good ideas here. Abe, I'll let you carry that conversation again.
Mr. Mayor and Council, we've worked with Jorgensen Associates, who is our approved inspector for short-term rental permits. Stephen has helped us put this together with the idea of how can we make this better for applicants, how can we make it more streamlined? And Stephen has changed this inspection to allow for it to be a 3-year cycle. So verifying stuff like fire extinguishers and smoke detectors and those types of things throughout, so that as long as there's no changes to the building, that such inspection could be a 3-year inspection. And that as long as they didn't, change anything or change of hands, that they could certainly get a 3-year good inspection once every 3 years, annual renewal. And this would be, in his mind, a superior way to do it because he's doing one upfront, more thorough inspection, and then it's existing over 3 years. This should certainly be an option, I think, that would make short-term rental owners happy, or happier is the term. And also this coupled with the potential of maybe doing a renewal fee that's a reduced fee compared to the $250 annual fee we do now, whereas since they run a current STR, as long as they're getting us up-to-date insurance and up-to-date information required by the code in a single packet application, that it simplifies our renewal, that these would be 2 ways to improve, I guess, their ability to operate their short-term rentals. So, up for consideration.
And obviously recommended by me, or else it wouldn't be on the agenda. Questions, comments, criticisms?
Oh, looks good.
I support it. I think it's good that we're making it easier and incentivizing good working relationships with these STR owners.
Like I said, I think it's nice because we've done it, so now we know we're better organized, they're better organized, everybody knows where this lands. We can now make this easier for everybody, including ourselves.
What's the expected discount from 250 down to what?
We haven't discussed that.
Oh,
We have
okay,
fee resolution.
that's fair.
We'd have to come back at the next meeting or some subsequent meeting.
Yeah, you mentioned it, so I didn't know if you guys already had a number in mind
And
to
then
think about.
presuming that business license is passed, then we can fold this into the business license discussion for short-term rentals, and that would just all fold together.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that this is us listening to the comments of a citizen and making changes based on that. So just encouraging people to reach out when they have thoughts.
All right, So I think, you want us to approve this, Dave?
I think it's
Yes.
good to approve this to form. I think obviously I would agree with the condition that Ed has his formal legal review of it, and then Ed likes to add nice language that says this is maybe not your only inspection or your own, little CYA action. That attorneys are much better at than I am, so. We'll add that language in there.
We can just have a motion, obviously pending final legal review.
I move, do you want it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I move that we approve an option for a more thorough inspection with a 3-year term for short-term rental inspections in the town of Pinedale, pending legal review and final formatting and content review.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilman Boyce, who wanted to arm wrestle making this motion. To approve an option for a more thorough inspection with a 3-year term for short-term rental inspections in the town of Pinedale, pending legal review and final permitting and content review by our attorney. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries 5-0. Next item is affordable housing RFP. I've drafted 2 RFPs here. Ed hasn't had a chance to fully go through it, so these RFPs need final legal review. I would like to get started on this immediately. And so I would like the council to approve us issuing these RFPs once we've done our final review. Again, similar to what we did just previously formatting. There are 2 RFPs here. There was how big a grant? We don't know how big the grant was. There was
$5 million.
There was a $5 million grant available to DEQ that we could tap into, and we don't know what that amount was. We decided to waive on that as well, partially because we knew that applying for that grant without actually having a developer in line for the grant would make us applying for the grant kind of sus. But we have 2 options, and that's what these 2 RFPs issue. One is if there were a developer who wanted to develop a certain number of housing, which we've talked about from a previous developer, and he needed money or help to do the infrastructure like water and sewer. The town could then say, well, if we were to help you with water and sewer, then how many deed restricted affordable housings could you make available? And there would be some sort of a trade that would take place. So that's RFP 1. Originally, I was thinking that there was like 1, maybe 2. 8 pointed out there could be 3 or 4. And so to make it fair, we wanted to issue an RFP so that those developers within the town of Pinedale who have a larger parcel who would like to do something like this, they could let us know that they're interested in doing this. And it's we come back to the Housing Commission discussions that we've had. So all the numbers and everything on deed restrictions would fall back to that we've already built with our previous 2. The second RFP is for developing South Jackson. What do we want to do with 5-acre parcel? The town of Jackson and other towns have been doing some public-private partnerships where somebody comes in and builds it out. So let's put this out to RFP and say private developers want to propose for our 5-acre parcel. Now, we could turn around and sell the 5-acre parcel and then use that to pay for the infrastructure on somebody else's property. All that to say, there's options here, but we obviously want workforce and affordable housing within the town of Pinedale. And to be clear, affordable housing is like a certain percentage of the average median income and not just market available housing, which is primarily what's on the market today. So we're looking at doing that. And I do know, and I've been thinking, I don't know how many people have been looking at the hospital. I think the hospital is doing a fantastic job. I've heard mostly positive comments. There's always 1 or 2 negatives, but that just goes part of the course. I have noticed that they have a lot of people that work there that are travel nurses, for example. And one reason given is that it's hard to find people who want to live here and can live here. So I do think that by providing housing, that could help the hospital, it could help the schools, it obviously could help our people who are working at the Dollar Generals of this world. So I don't know where this is going to play out. We're only putting an RFP out there, so we could go both paths, we could go one path, we could go neither path, but at least we'll have information. And then if another grant is available, we'll already have an idea of who our partner can be. So I think that's my explanation of the 2 RFPs. As I said, I'd love council approval to go ahead and issue that, and then Ed and I will finalize all the wording on it to make sure that it's legal. And then we'll come back in a couple of months with answers to the RFP. Ed, any comments on your side?
No, sounds good.
Straightforward.
The way I'm reading this, we're still allowed to turn down everything that gets proposed. And as long as that stays in the language, I think I'm happy with it.
Reject any and all proposals, request clarification.
Yeah, I saw that, and as long as we keep that part.
Yeah, no, we're just, I mean, I don't want to say this is fishing expedition, but I want to know what's out there. And I want to know who wants to develop. And we do have a couple of privates who are interested in developing. And, you know, if you put 3 million in, you could end up with 20 or so, maybe affordable housing, deed restricted affordable houses. So that would be a good thing too. So.
Well, this just seems a lot more fair than, you know, saying, oh, we know of a couple people, but we may have missed other potential people who wanted to be involved. So I'll move that we approve the draft RFP for the solicitation of affordable housing partnerships.
Second.
All right, moved by Councilwoman Boyce, seconded by Councilman Casiva to approve, I'm going to say issuing the RFP for the solicitation of affordable housing pending legal and formatting review. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries 5-0. I should have made this during council comments, but I think I've talked about it, and I'm just going to put this out here. We are beginning our prioritization process as well. So I would like to encourage council, if previously, if there's any priorities or things that are important, to begin noting them and sending them to us. It's obviously open to the public and the staff as well. And I would like to probably in February or March, complete our prioritization so that we actually have a set of new priorities for this coming few years. And I think affordable housing should land on there somewhere, which is why I'm thinking about it. So. All right, next item is ordinances and resolutions, G1. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. We are on resolution 2026-01. This is for the resolution setting dates in 26 for the retail liquor license holders that may operate up to 24 hours. Amy? Lila, I know, I was gonna say Amy first. Amy, we good?
Yes.
Okay, Lila, we good with these dates?
Yeah.
You come in every year, you're always, you faithfully sit here for nearly 2 hours. I know this is your item.
I just would like to declare, you've got the dates right.
July 11, September 12, Rendezvous, Brewfest, Halloween, and New Year's Eve.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Trying to work with you. I appreciate you patiently sitting there for this entire meeting.
Just to get to a.
This is your issue.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. And I'm just gonna bring this up in the discussion, and I don't know where it falls, but it's kind of separate. And Lila, I'm sure you can have some input on this as well. So I've had a few people concerned that certain folks are not following the TIPS training protocol. And this is not really in this discussion, and it will have no impact on whether this passes or not, but since I have you here and you do kind of represent, I mean, can you speak to that? Because I've had a couple of people that are concerned that people are going in, TIPS training would indicate that a person is demonstrating a certain loss of sobriety, that we shouldn't serve them anymore, but people are getting served. I've heard a couple of sheriff's deputies talk about it, and I just want to make certain that, I'm assuming your bar and others, but somebody speak to this because it's a concern that I have and I don't want to get all fussy about it, but.
I don't know another bar, but I know my bartenders and they are.
Yeah.
It also has to do with my insurance. And it's just a good thing to have.
I agree. And just to underline it, I think it's critically important that we make certain that not only are they TIPS trained, but they're TIPS compliant.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right? Because I do think there's a moment where somebody could come up and say, you can kind of tell. And, you know, were you involved in that conversation that we were having about somebody was suggesting that we need the sheriff's office just to drive people who are drunk home and that the sheriff's office should just pay for that? And it's like, no, that's not their responsibility. And we were having this conversation. I'm like, yeah,
That's fun.
yeah, like somebody was pushing on Facebook. Well, the sheriff should just drive them home if they're drunk. And it's like,
Somewhere.
yeah,
We're not that small of a town.
well, that's what I think. I mean, I just wanted to bring that up, and you're sitting here, and as you're speaking to your colleagues within the industry,
Yeah, right.
make sure that everybody,
12
and Amy, that as we issue this, not only are they TIPS, you know, that they're TIPS filed, that they are TIPS compliant. Because this is an issue, drinking's one thing, but over drinking's another thing, and we know it's an issue. That's why I feel safe saying that. So is there a motion for resolution 2026-01? This is our first resolution of the year.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Wow.
New Year's
New
resolution.
Year's.
There you go. I move that we approve resolution 2026-01, a resolution setting dates in 2026 that retail liquor license holders within the town of Pinedale may operate for up to 24 hours. You want me to list the dates or?
Might as well.
Okay, we have for the Saturday of Rendezvous, Saturday of Brewfest, Saturday of Halloween, and Thursday of New Year's Eve.
I think that's all. I have it on January 2nd, 2027, because of when it fell. I think New Year's Eve was on a Thursday or something. That's why.
The first is a Friday, so it would be Thursday night, right?
It's gonna be January 2nd of 2027. That's why I wrote it down.
Well, we're doing, okay, so we're doing a resolution for this calendar year.
Yeah, that's why I wondered, because of the way that
Thursday
fell.
night to.
Wrote that date in.
So you don't want it for December 31st, New Year's Eve, you want it for January 2nd.
Yeah, yeah, we got-
Thursday.
that's what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thursday night into Friday. Yep.
Right, yeah, and then that would be December 31st, 2026, technically January 1st of 2027.
Yeah.
But it starts on the 31st, and then the following year, I think, to your point,
Is that when it flips over?
in 2027, it will be Friday, the 31st.
Right.
So as long as we're doing New Year's Eve, that should be the 31st, which will be Thursday this year. Yeah.
Yeah, Thursday night into the first. Yeah.
Is there a second? I did, there was. I
I'll
did.
second.
All right, moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilwoman Boyce to approve resolution 2026-01, setting the dates in 2026. The retail liquor license holders within the town of Pinedale may operate for up to 24 hours. Saturday Rendezvous, Saturday Brewfest, Saturday Halloween, Thursday New Year's Eve, July 11th, September 12th, October 31st, December 31st. For the benefit of our recording, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstentions? 401, please. All right, I think that covers it. Routine, we're now down to the bills, Councilwoman.
I move that we approve the bills for January
Thank you,
12, 2026 in the amount of $293,428.91, paid with checks 32043 through 32103.
I will second.
Moved by Councilwoman Boyce, second by Councilman Casiba to approve the bills for January 12th, 2026, in the amount of $293,428.91. Checks number 32043 through 32103. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The next item is an executive session to discuss real estate. There will be no action taken afterwards, so we will go ahead and close the online session of this meeting and thank all the public for coming. I do want to, I'm forgetting, we have one last minute visitor who walked in. I'm forgetting your name. Okay. No concerns before I close the meeting. Got here for all of about 1 minute and a half, so make sure if you wanted to say something that you could say something since you took the time to come. All right, can I have a motion to go to executive session, please?
I'll make a motion that we go to executive session.
Okay, for purposes of real estate. Okay, is there a second? Moved by Councilman Loftus, seconded by Councilwoman Boyce to go to executive session for the purpose of discussing real estate. Any further comment? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. This will be the end of our public session.
you.